Hi there, and welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create a head basis in Blender. So I like to use this technique to create base heads that I can then model on top of. So this is a example of a project that I actually use this on, and I've still got a bit to go on this. As you can see, we can get a really nice and cartoony face from this really quickly. So let's jump right in. First things first, we're going to start off with two spheres. So I'm just going to delete the main cube, Shift A, and I'm going to create a UV sphere. Then after that, I'm going to go into edit mode and rotate it on the Y axis by 90 degrees. After that, I'm going to then grab the sides here and I'm going to turn on my mirror. So let me just grab my header, show tool settings, X, and now I'm going to turn on proportional editing, press G and X to constrain it to the X axis, and I'm going to use my mouse wheel to then change the proportional editing size, and I'm just going to squash that head in ever so slightly. Perfect. I'm going to keep proportional editing on for now, but I'm also going to tab out, and then I'm going to go into my side view, Shift D, and pull that down. So if you're wondering how I'm going in and out of views, I've got a really good tutorial on how to navigate the UI, which will be in the top right-hand corner of the screen now. So I highly suggest you check it out. So moving back on, I'm going to position this so that the bottom here is just a little bit underneath the bottom of this circle here, and the front is just a little bit, maybe even not, maybe just equal to this one here. So I'm just trying to position it something like that. So this is going to act as our chin shape. And now I'm going to go into edit mode again, and I'm going to select a vertex on the side here, and I'm going to press G and drag it up into the sides a little bit. And I want to make sure that it's centered pretty nicely because this is acting as our cheekbones. I might want to drag these down a little bit. And now I'm going to grab a point in the center here, drag it out to act as my chin, and we'll just drag that gullet up just a bit. Now I'm going to grab a point up here, and I'm going to start defining the nose a little bit. Now, of course, we're going to be sculpting all the detail on in just a second, but right now this is just kind of laying out the land masses for our head. Now, remembering that this is a very stylized head, it's not a real head, so we can have some creative liberties in this. So now that we've done that, we're going to bool these two together. So to do that, you want something called the bool tool. So to access it, go to Edit, Preferences, and then search in your add-ons for bool tool. There it is there. Just make sure that's ticked, and then come down to your sandwich menu here, and then say Preferences. So to find the bool tool, all that you're going to do is press N on your keyboard, come up here to Edit, there's the bool tool. So we need to select both of these, and now I'm going to just do an auto boolean union, and that should work fairly nicely. Okay, so our next step is we'll jump into sculpting. So let's go into the sculpting, and what we're going to do now is we're going to turn on dynamic topology by pressing Control D. Okay, and then I'm just going to scale up my brush by pressing F, and then I'm going to start smoothing it out with Shift, and maybe start to add a bit of definition, because essentially what's happening with dynamic topology is, if I go into wireframe here, notice wherever I draw, I'm essentially subdividing the topology, and it's just giving us a little bit more resolution. It's almost like a bitmap painting. So bitmap being pixels rather than vector, where it's using mathematics. So first things first, I like to smooth out this area here, just so it's a little bit nicer. And now I'm going to hold control with my clay strips brush selected, and I'm going to start to carve into the face. I'm just clicking and holding control. I'm carving into the face some eye sockets. Perfect. And now I'll just start smoothing that out using Shift. And maybe I went a little bit too zealous on my cheekbones there, so let me just bring those back down a little bit. And now I'm just going to then just do a little circle again for my chin, bring it out a little bit, give it a bit of definition. Of course, depending on your character, these proportions are going to change, but for a very simplified and feminine character, these proportions work fairly well for me. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing for the nose, just little circle movements to kind of bring that little nub of a nose out. Something like this. Might want to bring it down a little bit in size using F, and then just smooth it out. Whoops, daisies, you don't want to go too far like that. Just smoothing it out. Something like this. Might maybe smooth that nose there. Perfect. So I might smooth these cheekbones in a little bit and even actually use control to kind of dig in and give it a bit of gauntness and then smooth that out. Let's also add a bit of definition to the brow. Something along the lines of that should work nicely. Now, as you can see, very quickly we're able to start to create this very toony sort of face shape. And that's the style I quite enjoy. So now it's just a matter of essentially just carving into this shape until you get the shape that you want. So what I might do here is I might just grab the clay brush, give it a bit of extra resolution, and then hit it with the smooth brush by holding Shift. Okay, so another thing that we want to be aware of is where our lips are going to go. So our lips, if we look at a human face, they kind of sit on a cylindrical surface in a way. They kind of come out of here. So we want to kind of add that. So all that I'm going to do, maybe come into my clay strips brush. I'm just going to add something like this onto my mesh here. I might smooth it out a little bit. We won't go too detailed on the lips in this video, but I just kind of want to show you the basis of throwing them in. Something like that. Might want to smooth this out even a bit. Something along the lines of that. I'm just going to dig into the shape a little bit more. I'm looking for a very gaunt sort of figure here, sort of creepy in a way. So as you can see here, we can really see that cheekbone popping out now. So very stylized. So now what we're going to do to finish off these lips, now remembering this is a basis, it doesn't have to be perfect right away. It's just giving you landmarks for either a more detailed sculpt or a retopology stage. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my crease brush. You can also use Shift and C. And I'm just going to jump in here and I'll do like almost like a M shape. Something like that. Pull it down a little bit. So let's go M with maybe a little bit of a tick up at the edges if you want it to be smiling. So remember, these edge points here are going to be really important and are going to sort of determine the mood of your character. So now I've done that, I'm going to use Control to use an inverse, and I'm just going to kind of create the basic shapes here of my lips. Something like that. And then I can like pull this in to there. And then I might just redo that lip a little bit, that lip line. Something along the lines of that. So as you can see, we've very, very quickly built up our shapes. Now you can take this further and really play with the proportions, but I just wanted to give you this initial jump into sculpting. Now I know I've thrown a lot of information at you, but definitely keep practicing. A great resource to look at when doing sculpting in Blender is a channel called Yarn Sculpt. He's so amazing, so I definitely suggest checking him out. I'll be leaving a link to him in the video. But yeah, he's very inspirational, so definitely check him out on your journey. I just wanted to kind of give my take on how I do things, and if it helps but one person, I think that's an accomplishment for me. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down below and I will do my best to get back to you. Okay, this is Hayden Falzon from falzonfantasy.com, signing off.